Hello and welcome to Fridays Are Awesome. Not really the name of our show, but who's going to argue? I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10. Tensions over trade are heating up between the United States and China. At midnight Thursday, $16 billion worth of Chinese products, including motorcycles, plastics, and refrigerators, became subject to a 25% tariff or tax when they're imported to the U.S. China responded with 25% tariffs of its own on American products, like buses and diesel fuel, when they're imported to China. These are the latest shots fired in what many analysts call a trade war between the two countries, and they could lead to higher prices on both sides of the Pacific on imported materials and the items they're made from. So why is this happening? The Trump administration has blamed China for unfair trade practices. President Donald Trump says they've helped China benefit, quote, too well for too long, and they've become spoiled. The tariffs are meant to help American manufacturers by making Chinese products more expensive to buy in the U.S. And while some American companies have benefited, others have seen their costs go up. Chinese President Xi Jinping says China will defend its own interests and free trade in general, and that he thinks the tariffs are not only about trade, but also about trying to limit the rise of China. Officials from both sides are meeting in Washington, D.C. to work out their differences, but analysts say they don't think much will come from the talks. And at this point, neither country is backing down on the tariffs. Up next today, is there ice on the moon? A study recently published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences suggests there is. The study was new, but the data wasn't. It came from an Indian mission that was carried out in 2008 and 2009. It involved an instrument designed to detect the reflective properties of ice, and also try to distinguish between whether it was looking at water or ice. Previous studies have suggested that ice could be present on the moon, but they might have just detected unusually reflective soil there, according to NASA. In the new study, scientists looked at information gathered from the darkest and coldest parts of the moon's poles, places that never see sunlight, and they concluded that they've found definitive evidence for ice in the moon's frigid areas. Why might that matter? Well, if there's enough of it, and no one knows how much there is, researchers believe it could be a water source for a future moon mission. The scientists involved in the study are hoping another mission will be carried out to examine the remote parts of the moon and better map it out. 10-second trivia. What kind of hurricane-related history was made in 1950? Storms were named, the Saffir-Simpson scale was created, Hawaii was hit, or a storm was seen from space. 1950 was the first year when storms started getting names. People in the U.S. state of Hawaii are hunkered down as the rain, wind, and waves from Hurricane Lane lash the islands. The storm was expected to weaken as it approached Hawaii, but as of yesterday afternoon, it was a Category 4 cyclone with wind speeds of 130 miles per hour. Its center was still about 200 miles away from Hawaii, but potentially damaging winds extended 140 miles from the middle of the storm, and it was getting closer. Landslides and flooding have already set in on the Big Island. The Central Pacific doesn't see a lot of hurricanes in contrast to the Atlantic and Eastern Pacific Oceans, and Hawaii takes up a relatively small part of the sea. That's why only 2 hurricanes have actually made landfall there since the 1950s. Whether Hurricane Lane would actually do that wasn't known. Hurricanes are hard to track, and there are even different ways of modeling them.
Well, you hear us talk a lot about the models, the European versus the American, and how are they different? We're trying to model an atmosphere that has an infinite number of layers. From where we live to the top of the atmosphere, it's not 9, 12, 13 different layers. It's an infinite number, but you can't put infinity into a computer and expect an answer because it will just hang up and keep running. The difference between the two models is trying to get a model run that's accurate and timely. Timely meaning we can have a perfect forecast for a 2-day snowstorm, but it might take 24 hours worth of running the computer to get there. So as a 2-day forecast that's only good for 1 day, is that worth it? No. We try to get it to run in 4 hours or less. Now the European model does take longer to run. There's more data in the European model, and so therefore it can be slightly more accurate, but the American model is pretty close.
From Finding Nemo to Missing Nemo to Saving Nemo, that's going to take some explanation. Clownfish, the real-life animal that Nemo was based on, are missing from many of their natural habitats. Part of the reason may have to do with coral bleaching. Clownfish make their homes in coral, and bleaching occurs when low tides, pollution, invasive species, or changes in water temperature cause coral to get sick and lose its vibrant color. That's bad for clownfish. This has struck several places worldwide in recent years, though some of the bleached coral areas show signs of recovering. But there's another threat that Nemo is facing, and it's because the fish is so popular.
Meet the humble clownfish. Though small in size, it's one of the most instantly recognizable inhabitants of the world's coral reefs. A fish made famous by the 2003 animated film Finding Nemo. The movie told the story of a father searching for his son Nemo after he's captured from the wild. But Finding Nemo's box office success has had some unintended consequences.
After the film Finding Nemo, there was a drastic spike in the number of fish that people wanted for their aquarium.
Karen Burke da Silva is a marine biologist and the co-founder of a program called Saving Nemo.
And the places that they were getting those fish actually was from the wild. As the numbers kept coming out of the wild, they started getting very, very small in some places, and in fact in certain areas became locally extinct.
Students at Belgian Gardens Primary School in the Australian city of Townsville are trying to change that.
At the top, there's a little orange clownfish. It's really tiny. It's like a dot. Can you see it?
Oh wow, it's really small, yeah.
Yeah.
As part of the Saving Nemo program, these children are helping breed baby clownfish.
We breed them so we can give fish that we breed to people who want clownfish, and so they don't have to take them out of the wild.
I've been watching CNN, Townsville, Australia.
For 10 out of 10 today, robot dog for hire. It's not exactly cute, warm, and cuddly like a real dog, but the makers of Spot Mini, the robot dog, think it can work in construction, delivery, security, and even home care. Look, it can get up if it falls down, and it even uses care when putting away the dishes. One expert says a problem may be pricing. This could cost as much as a car, and it's not clear exactly what else this could help people do. Personally, I think they should just teach it to walk the actual dog, because irony. You're going to need to take out a leash to buy it. It'd probably fetch a few bucks at auction, and with that yellow color, it's already like a golden retriever. Why not let the dog walking just go to the dogs? Something to train your mind on as we scoot on into the weekend. I'm Carl Azus for CNN 10.